The People's Talk Show is starting now, and it's time for business. Let's talk about today's news and give me a call.
All right, we are live for the midweek edition of the People's Talk Show. And I'm excited to be back as always, and definitely looking forward to connecting and finding out what's on your radar, what you guys been keeping your eyes on these days, as well as share my 2 cents on some headlines that caught my attention. But before I do that, let me make sure everything is flowing smoothly on my end so that I'm not back here talking to myself. So by a show of thumbs up, if you guys don't mind, in the chat, let me know if everything is coming through clearly so that we can make sure that this time is used wisely. And also want to make sure that any first-time viewers, welcome to the community. I want to definitely hear from you guys. So let me know where you're watching from. We'll definitely love to give you a quick shout out. And then when the phone lines open up, as you guys can see here, 313-462-0027 is the number to call and let your voice be heard. Okay, so it's always, always something, never a dull moment in the midst of a global, political, social restructuring for humanity. But one thing that really stood out to me the most out of everything, of course, we got the primary issues that, the media is pushing on us. Can't get those out your mind. War, death, destruction, stuff like that. Okay. But, one thing I want to make sure I always come back home towards is the monetary transition and all the underlying things happening behind the scenes that won't get much airplay. And it has everything to do with the rebranding, restructuring of our monetary system and all the developments that's still in play. For those who are of the mindset, and I follow a lot of people just to get a variety of thoughts to formulate my opinions, utilizing those thoughts and information. And there's still a good amount of people who believe in a certain letter of the alphabet that is basically saying that there's, some white hats behind the scenes still working things. I mean, like, okay, I just cringe when I hear stuff like that because people have become so convinced that there's a knight in shining armor coming in on a white horse that lives in a gold hotel in New York or something like that is going to save the day. And it's just, we're too far gone as a society, politically, monetarily, you name it. I mean, it's just, it's too late to fix anything. And so more so it's about preparing for the changes that's underway. So the reason I say all that is because whether we want to accept it or not, the digital transition is still taking place when it comes to digital wallets and central bank digital currencies. And what's confusing is that not only are they trying to, issue in a new payment structure or, minimize physical wealth in the form of cash. Of course, they already did gold and silver a long time ago, but they're doing it at the same time that people have no confidence in solely going digital when you get all these cyber attacks going on. So I want to share my thoughts on that as well as a couple other things here. Got a couple headlines, and so we'll go from there. What else we got here? Let me acknowledge a couple people real quick. Carl, appreciate you for checking in with us, man. It says, I'm minding my own. I am not my brother's keeper. Rob says, build back better. Steven says, is Bill Gates buy all his farmland because the next pandemic will be food shortage? Hint, hint. Yeah, they've given us more than enough clues. Look at over the last 3 years of areas that have been disrupted: farming, the food processing, the medical industry, of course, the money industry, the banking, the credit. I mean, you name it. You can kind of tell where they're steering this towards. And it has to do with less for us and more for them. And in between us and them will be a permissioned society where, according to their plan, at least, you're going to have to get permission to interact, to do, and to engage in the normal society. And it has a lot to do with, even how they're transitioning us now to these smart cities and smart grocery stores and smart this, smart that, everything's smart intentionally, because whoever controls the software, whoever controls the programming does all the, has all the say so at the end of the day. So, okay. Anyway, so I appreciate everybody who's joining me, man. If you haven't, as I mentioned before, hit that thumbs up button. Show your support for the channel. Definitely appreciate it. I want to make sure I make this time wise, useful for you guys. So I don't want to be too long. Definitely want to hear from you guys. But before I do all that, let me make sure that I get in the mix and give my peoples a quick shout out. I gotta continue to do that just because they've been such a blessing to the channel, and you never know who might be new to the fold. So what I want to do, jump right into some headlines, man. All right, let's get it. For those who might be new, forpatriots.com/RTD. The link is in the description. I encourage you, if you have not, pay them a visit. See if they have some items that you might need to utilize in case of emergency situations. We're witnessing them all the time. I'm going to talk about some in a moment. But forpatriots.com is a supporter of the channel, so I appreciate them. And also give you all types of ways to get your food up, get your energy game up, and just get your seed game up, you name it, storage, you name it, water. And one of the most important things that they're looking to do is get the generators, the power generators. Everyone needs to have a generator just because you never know, the lights might go out or the internet might go down or whatever, making sure you can continue to hold your own. So if you haven't, check them out, forpatriots.com/RTD. Link is in the description. And yeah, just a good way to make sure you're prepared. Okay, let me get into some primary subject matter here. Some things that caught my attention that plays well into this whole transition. So here we have, just another unfortunate event. I'm sure scared a lot of people. But Opus outage, millions affected by Australian network failure. And so relatively an older story, but once again, I haven't covered it here. And so it might be new to some of you guys. But real quickly, it's a nice little lengthy little summary here, but I figure it's easier for me to just grab some of the details here. So I'm just going to give you some key points that you guys can read right along if you like, just to stay plugged in. But give you an idea, it says a network failure, Australia's second largest telecom firm, left millions without mobile and internet, disrupting transport, hospital communications, and payment systems, and affected over 10 million people and thousands of businesses. It says in a 12-hour outage, which began around 4 in the morning, lasted until 6 in the afternoon, was caused by a technical network fault. Technical network fault, okay, which the company is still investigating. It says emergency calls and key helplines were disrupted nationwide. So imagine stuff hitting the fan within that full day's time period. Imagine if whatever's happening in your neighborhood or something like that, you can't call for help. You can't call law enforcement. You can't call emergency services. Why? Because your phone don't work. So within that time frame, it's good to say a lot more took place than we're going to hear about from the mainstream media. So keep your ears out, because I'm sure people got stories about robberies, killings, stealings, you name it, because people took advantage of the helpless, especially the elderly who lost communication with their family and loved ones. So just a little side note there. But it says here, Aussie Broadband and Moose Mobile were also affected by the outage, causing widespread consumer distress. One Optus customer was unable to receive cancer treatment updates for her father. So it says the Kelly, the CEO, apologized for the incident, dismissing claims that the recent job cuts caused it, and promised to learn from his last year's historic data breach. So here we have a situation where power went out in reference to communication, disrupted society in general. A lot of damage was done. It's good to say a lot of people have damages they can't recoup off from, but then again, that's what happens. So this is just a one-day incident. Imagine if it's something bigger and longer. Those are the type of things we talk about when we mention about being prepared, because you never know. So we could have longer time periods. So in the meantime, how are you? What are you doing to make sure that you're not completely disconnected as best you can? So I wonder, did they have the emergency radios and things of that nature? So those are also things good to have, so you can stay tuned into what's going on. As long as there's power, there's still communication going on. Okay, so just a quick subject there we're branching in. And then here's another one here. Can't help but talk about events as they unfold. So on the screen here, you got Cyberattack paralyzes third largest U.S. mortgage service, Mr. Cooper, 4.1 million customers in limbo, unable to make payments. This was reported, this article here from this morning. This took place over the last couple days. But then again, disruption caused chaos. Panic ensues. Imagine people who might just be hanging on by a thread and probably not be able to make their payments or trying to make their payments, the amount of nerves they have after experiencing stuff like this. But real quick, give you a little bit of a summary. Won't be too long with this one. Mr. Cooper, and a leading mortgage service provider, was hacked on October 31st, shutting down multiple critical systems and depriving millions of customers of mortgage payment and account information. It says over 4.1 million customers were affected by the cyber attack on Mr. Cooper, the third largest, whatever. It says containment measures included suspending recurring payments and online access to secure customer data and financial transactions. So it's more than likely there was a leakage, people's information out there. So maybe 4.1 million or so people, social security number, name, credit card, all that information might be out in the internet. And somebody right now is scooping it up on the cheap to cause some type of cyber event. Unfortunate. But this is the world they're steering us towards. At the same time, there's a lot of vulnerabilities. You can't put 100% faith in something digital. It's just not possible. It's not wise because it's dependent upon electricity and internet connection. And at any time, those can be disrupted. But then you have very sophisticated individuals out here who specialize in going through backdoors of software. All of these companies, every single thing I'm going to mention has a backdoor in it. They will not make anything without a backdoor. Hint, hint. The crypto space. Don't get too happy-go-lucky, because if it's created by man, it can be disrupted by man. That's just a little side note. Anyway, it says since the data company took systems offline to manage the crisis, it appears to have suffered a ransomware attack. Went offline, and then they got a ransomware attack. So this is something that will be very problematic for some time to come. Lawsuits going to come from this. Chaotic. Okay, that's just 2 cyber events, 1 power issue, 1 cyber event that we're being told about. Keeping it moving. Here's another interesting subject here. This has to do with the digital transformation that's taking place right now. And this is a little bit of an older article, but it's happened to have snuck by me. So I figure I'd bring it up because I'm going to talk about now, with all this cyber uncertainty, the continuous push for digital wallets and central bank digital currencies is still underway. So as you guys can see from this headline here, let me make sure my audio is good. Let me just share with you here. This is a survey that was done. I'll get into some of the details in a minute, but it says 66% of Americans expect to have a digital identity wallet by 2023. So this was released earlier this year. And it says digital ID wallets can cut down on KYC, AML costs, and are quickly becoming a part of consumers' expectations. It says, so I'll just skip through that, give you some of the nuts and bolts. So here's just a quick summary. It's easier to scan through this real quick. It says early warning services, says Zale's parent company will launch a bank-backed digital identity wallet. Bank-backed digital identity wallet, emphasizing the growth importance of digital identities in financial transactions and beyond. So I'm thinking of it right now for those who have PayPal, Zelle, all those online third-tier payment platforms. As cell phones have gotten better in reference to the technology, whether it be to put your thumb on the screen for instant access to your phone, or use the iPhone scans your face every 5 seconds, I heard, or whatever the biometric information, your eye, your thumb, your face, whatever, that information is being utilized along with these payment systems here. So this is nothing new per se, but we've already been conditioned to accept it, because in order to get it into our phones, we got to unlock it somehow beyond just the password. So that's, I'm assuming, what they're talking about, the bank and the wallet partnership. But it says here, over 66% of Americans expect to have digital wallets by the end of 23. It says simply managing multiple identity credentials for KYC and online experiences. So people, according to the people they surveyed, they would rather have a single point of entry rather than have to go through all this KYC, AML, all the headache stuff they take us through. They would rather have it go through as least amount of apps as possible. So it makes them more susceptible to fall into the idea of a digital identity wallet. It says 66% of banks are issuing or planning to issue digital identity wallets, allowing them to use credentials from other banks, third parties, and governing bodies, but at an additional cost for identity providers. So basically, they'll give you the service, but then they're going to charge you for it. It says the relying party and the identity provider share transaction fees to cover investment. It says operational and governance costs without burdening end consumers in the digital identity wallet ecosystem. So, and there's more information as to how many people were surveyed. It's let me see, experts group survey data. So I click on this here. This thing got a lot of graphs and stuff like that, but just save you guys the time and the energy. So here's all the details. Let me find out the total number, if they got something in here, whatever. Anyway, but you guys get the drift. People are begging for convenience and something easier. Okay, so we got one instance of a digital wallet. Let me get to another one here. So this is out of the EU as of today. European politicians break very bad news about digital IDs and central bank digital currency. So real short, this is one of the Dutch Parliament members here, Dutch member Bob Ross, and his is his screenshot of his tweet. It said, very bad news. The European Parliament and member states just reached an agreement on introducing the digital identity hashtag EID. Says directly afterwards, EU Commissioner Breton said, quote, now that we have a digital ID wallet, we have to put something in it, unquote, suggesting a connection between the CBDC and the EID. They ignored all the privacy experts and security specialists. They're pushing it all the way through regardless. So there's a vote coming up pretty soon on this. So this is him encouraging people to tell their MPs, whatever, to vote this down. But it's already in play. It's what they want. It may not work the first time go around, but they're not going to give up. And eventually, when the banks seize up and credit frees up and people can't get in the banks, what better solution will they have? Oh, your digital wallet is waiting on you with some CBDCs in it. So this is what's happening in the EU. So the digital push continues. And then here's another development. Bank of Russia to create digital ruble payment system with the UAE. So this came out as of today as well. It says the Bank of Russia is ready in cooperation with the UAE regulator to build up a system of fast payments and settlements with the use of the digital ruble for individuals and businesses. First Deputy Governor mentioned, quote, we will work out the fast payment system and the CBDC because colleagues are ready with the digital ruble and we are ready. If we solve the issue of client identification, digital ID again, then I think we will be able to build up a normal system of payments for citizens and businesses. So we got the UAE and the Bank of Russia. And isn't it interesting how the UAE was just invited into the BRICS? So it's good to say by now, all the BRICS, they have their digital transition platforms ready for in-house, domestically, for their citizens, and then internationally for international trade. But then again, they're going to link them all together, as we can kind of see how they're going to try to connect all this together. So they're working behind the scenes to get this stuff rolled out in a timely manner, but that's just that. Okay. And then here's another story here that I couldn't help but continue to talk about if I can get it on my screen here. This is the continuation of the CBDC partnerships. So as you guys can see here, this is from CoinDesk as of yesterday. It says a CBDC alternative to SWIFT. And it says here, there are more cross-border CBD trials underway, but one stands out in its progress: institutional participation and potential to disrupt the current system. It goes on to talk about a lot of the key details, and I summarize it right here to make it easier. But here's some of the key points from that article there. It says global reach and the dollar bypass. So it's mentioned about in developing this alternative, it'll help those participating nations not be solely dependent on the dollar. So it says, let me make sure I'm on the screen here. Okay. It says the 23 central bank M-Bridge project. So 23 banks right now are partnering on this trial run of interoperability of their central bank digital currencies, settling on in real time across different ledgers, all that other stuff. But there's 23 banks for the M-Bridge. It said including the BIS is about to launch to bypass the US dollar-based global financial system. It says wholesale central bank digital currencies are seen as a solution to cross-border trade friction, but diverse financial systems and regulatory uncertainty make their adoption difficult. However, regional alliances like M-Bridge, are emerging to bypass SWIFT. So 23 banks, Bank of International Settlement, is working towards, as they say here, making wholesale central bank digital currency available for their nations. That has nothing to do with their commercial or domestic use for their citizens. Same ledger, more than likely, different structure, different timing, and everything else in between. So, yeah, you can't have a digital wallet without having something in it, I guess. That's what they're saying. Okay, the last couple of stories here. Then we'll open the phone lines here. So I talked about that one here. It looks like we've been officially at war because we got the U.S. conducting airstrikes continuously in Syria and I'm not sure they're even welcome or supposed to be there. But never mind all that. But we're at war. So this is just a little press release earlier about an event that took place in eastern Syria. I'll read it real quick. Move this out the way. It says, breaking U.S. airstrikes in eastern Syria. Today, President Biden's direction, U.S. military forces conducted a self-defense strike. Self-defense, like we're not even supposed to be there. So why are we defending ourselves if we're not supposed to be there? It's all about the oil. We know. Used by Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and affiliated groups. The strike was conducted by 2 U.S. F-15s against weapons storage facilities. So, yeah. Man. Anyway, here's another interesting graph here, just showing you where we're at on Main Street. Credit card delinquencies are rising fast, highest level since 1991. Nothing good's come from this at all. But then again, we expected that. And then this last article here, Lloyds of London accused of reparations washing over response to slave trade review. So long story short here, Lloyds of London is trying to own responsibility for being one of the primary insurance companies that insure the slave trade. And so Lloyds was founded in 1688 in the world's largest insurance market, released findings on Wednesday from 18 months of research that sought to determine the depths of its ties to the slave trade. So basically, because they insured the slave ships, they're trying to take ownership of that now by apologizing and offering a small stipend for distressed inner city communities. So this entire nation, civilized society, was built upon slavery, and they're trying to get away with by giving $52 million to good causes. So just give you, it's a long article here, but just to give you, it says instead, the insurance market, which reported it that it had lost, but made a profit out of it, said it was committing $52 million towards a program of initiatives, including those that would help people from Black and ethnically diverse, ethnically, you got my joy, background, oh my goodness, to participate and progress from the classroom to the boardroom. So basically, $52 million to help people come out the slums. So yeah, this is just, it's interesting, but that's the best way they could try to admit guilt without actually being taken out of business. So anyway, man, that's just, cat got my tongue now. Anyway, man, what's going on here? What else is going on? Lots of stories, lots of things happening, and let's get the phone lines open. Curious to hear what you guys have on your radar. So feel free to have at it. Give me a call. Let's talk. Here's the phone number right here on the screen. Curious to hear what you guys are keeping your eyes on. Just because there's, a million subjects, but then again, most of them are just going to play themselves out. And be honest with you, outside of directly impacting your world, how you choose to, prepare, gauge, get your prey game up, get everything you can within your own abilities. Ain't much you can do for anything else. So anyway, let's have at it, man. Let me know what's on your radar right now. And for those who are joining in, if you haven't, hit that thumbs up button. Show support for the channel. That's definitely appreciated. Yeah. Rolf says, wasn't USA offering $1.2 million per Black person in the US? That might have been some liberal left politician throwing it out there. I think it was something like $5 million in Cali, if I'm not mistaken. So could be wrong though, but let me know. It was a pretty big number. All right, let's get somebody on the phone. Hello, caller. Which name are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Mike? Thanks for keeping us woke, man. I'm calling from New York, man. I just wanted to drop off 3 ideas, man, real quick.
Go ahead.
So in New York, we have the migrant crisis and whatnot. I keep hearing about this next pandemic, and I would think that one reason for all these migrants is, of course, the voters, the workforce. But of course, if there's a pandemic, who's going to be the first to get sick? Then 100,000 people haven't been vaccinated. That's just one thing to think about. And the other two is that, these wars in the Middle East and whatnot, I think personally there's the Muslims versus the Jews. And the Jews is really the political Zionists. There's going to be people that's extremists on both sides, people that aren't going to have any empathy or moral code to their art of war.
Mm-hmm.
And that is just going to cause for the government and whatnot to come in and have to swoop in and make everybody comply.
Yeah.
And all this, I honestly think, like, I'm not looking in the crystal ball, but I think the major game plan, well, of course, is to digitalize the stuff. Like I've been hearing from you, they keep trying to bring out these CBDCs and this currency. But I honestly think that, like, for example, like the Vaxgate and all that, that was a curse to mark everyone, because they had a certain mark. They said, mRNA.
Yeah.
They changed the stuff, and I think that eventually they'll be able to track each and every human. I don't know if it's Elon with his Starlink, or it's gonna be like we're blockchain and we're in the system.
Yeah.
But I do think that eventually they'll have to do that. And it's sad because they want to take away our guns and have the government be able to control us each and every way. We're seeing that with 9/11. We're seeing it now with, you stand with Palestine, you stand with Israel. I don't think there's a side, but I honestly do think that the system right now is coming to a time when we're all going to be under the eyes of Big Brother. Like we see China. China's already there, and we're coming to it now. To be frankly honest with you, I don't even think they're wrong. We see America, the type of stuff that we got going on. Shit, we might need Big Brother to come and shake some shit up. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, appreciate you calling, man. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, boss man. Yeah. Good thoughts there. As far as the migration crisis or the invasion from the South, definitely that's a part of unraveling our country from within. And when it comes to linking that to the health situation, it's good to say that people are bringing in stuff with them, like whatever the mosquitoes that Bill Gates put out there has in it. So health, monetary, political, every area of society is right now being disrupted intentionally. So nothing really makes sense on the surface other than realizing that we're in a real world twilight zone, and the ultimate force behind all this is pure evil. So we all know who's associated with pure evil, whose job is to steal, kill, and destroy. So using that frame of reference, I think it makes it easier to realize that things must play out the way that the Bible said they must play out. So that's why, don't be of fear. Just, hey, do the best you can. What you got, leave the rest up to God. And what really is on my mind is yesterday reading the word and it talk about pray for your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you and deliberately try to hurt you. I'm like, oh. But then again, it's not my word. I got to be obedient. Anyway, hello, caller. Where you calling from? Get somebody on here. Hello, caller. Where you calling from? I'm sorry. Go ahead. What's your name?
Yeah, Steve.
Steve, what's up, my friend? Give me something quick. Try to get more people on. What you got?
My son was out in Napa this past weekend, and he went to Whole Foods, and they had to do even just to enter the store, you either had to do a palm scan, or your little debit tap thing to enter the store, etc.
Yeah.
And I sent you a video there if you can talk that into the thing about the grocery stores there.
Yeah, I saw that.
They're leaning it that way now, and it's coming. It's here already. And the last thing too, before I get off, is I have a buddy that was working down in San Francisco, and he was at the Open AI company.
Yeah.
And he said inside, once you get inside, before you go off to your workplace or something, there's a plaque or something that basically has one of their goals on there, and this is right in their building. Once you get inside, it basically says that their goal is to replace 30 million jobs by the year. He said he couldn't remember if it was 2025 or 2030. He said, but he definitely remembers seeing that it said 30 million jobs, and that's one of their goals. They have to walk past every day before they go to their workstations or whatever.
So think about this. Like, I wonder, do those people think about themselves? Do they put themselves in that equation? Like, by me working towards my employer's vision, how does that impact me? So that's, I'm sure, crossing some people's mind.
Hey man, those jobs are popping though at that company.
Yeah.
I think they don't even think about it, Mike. They don't think about it that way. I mean, they think it's something good. And I don't get it, but anyway.
Hey, man.
That's about it, bro.
Appreciate you, man.
Talk to you later.
All right, be good. Yeah. Do people actually consider the fact that while they're building out this tech, the tech will eventually put them in a position where it's going to be hard for them to maintain themselves depending upon their skill set. And that's why I think, like, right now, especially, like, you can either get involved with, learn, or get ran over by just because it's here. It's not going nowhere. It can be used as a tool or it can be used as a weapon against you. More so wherever you fit in that. But I'm still of the mindset that regardless of what is being built around us, it's just a tool, can be used as a tool to really enhance whatever your unique areas of gifting is. So that's why I always harp on, the spiritual side of things, just because at some point, like, there's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. So you're going to have to face the consequences or face the facts or whatever they are when they come your way. You got to definitely do that standing on the word of God, man. That is what it is. What else we got here? What else we got thoughts out there? Amazon is closing all. Let me see here. I can't click on it from this link, though. Amazon is closing all 4 cashierless San Francisco. Yeah. Cashless. That's a whole nother avenue. but good reminder. Good reminder. Jason says, spending more bread than they're taking in soon, they won't be able to pay the interest on it. Will it collapse? Yeah, and that's where we get into the fact that whatever they can't bring in from tax revenue, because a lot of unemployed people can't pay taxes, they're going to make up those deficits with basically monetizing it. MMT all the way. Government borrows it, central banks print it and dispose of it through the government. And of course, they have to definitely sell that as like, okay, we're going to do this for the people. The cost of living and all this, and, inflation and consumer prices is going back up. We got to make sure we get people more money in people's hands. Just like I was reading the other day about, what was it? It was some country, that to help fight consumer price increases, they're giving out more stimulus. But I'm sure you guys seen the same article, but it's like, okay, okay, doesn't that somehow go full circle? But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. Unfortunately, let me see. It won't let me. Will it let me copy? Yeah. Unfortunately, TBIC said copy and paste. With this software, I can't do it on the back end. It won't let me copy and paste. This is, yeah. And it won't let me. Nope. It copies the whole damn page. No. What else you got here? $130 billion. Japan. Was that Japan? It was Japan? Was it Japan? Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Fighting a problem with more gasoline. Fighting a fire with more gasoline. Never ends well. Never ends well. All right, people. We're about the 30-minute mark. No additional phone calls. Therefore, you guys don't want to holler at me, which is fine. So the goal is to be quick, concise, get to the point, share my 2 cents, get yours, and keep it moving. All right, so try to be back at it tomorrow, Lord willing. And so as always, shaking things up on my end here, working on some other things. So do the best I can to connect, but as always, never a dull moment in this crazy world we live in. So as always, man, continue to get your weight up, get your prayer game up, and do everything you can just to love life, enjoy life, love, and share with others. Be the best you can, and let the Lord do the rest. That's my motto. All right, people. Well, be blessed, be safe. If you found any value here, hit that thumbs up button. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Shalom.